Now, Ghamdi Sahib, another thing that is repeatedly emphasized in your discourse is that you greatly diminish the importance of fiqh, jurisprudence, or consider it less significant. Rather, you say that fiqh is the explanation of Sharia and we should be free from it. But in your own book, where you have explained the branches of religion, the rulings of Sharia, those two are derived from fiqh, aren't they? So, do you have an issue with the old fiqh, whereas you yourself have derived your own fiqh? Isn't that so?
In my entire discourse, please tell me, you are a very good student and a knowledgeable person. Where have I denied fiqh? Where have I separated it? My brother, if I say that the Sunnah is separate from the Quran or that Hadith is separate from the Quran, does that mean I am denying them? I have explained that people have mixed fiqh and Sharia, and this confusion needs to be resolved. From the very beginning, I have said that Sharia should be separated and explained as God's Sharia, while fiqh and juridical reasoning are the opinions of scholars based on their understanding. I have separated everything. If you look at my book, one of my fundamental tasks has been to distinguish what the Quran begins with, what the Sunnah begins with, and what takes precedence. I have clarified what comes within the realm of narrations. Because of this clarification, I have faced a lot of criticism. I have not denied any hadith. I have explained what are the contents of hadith, whether it is about understanding and explanation or the exemplary conduct of the Prophet, peace be upon him. This is the process of separation. At the end of my book, Meezan, it is written that the content of religion, the fundamentals of religion, have been separated from other elements. This is an explanation of separation, not denial. If I have written or said even a single sentence of denial, please point it out to me.
No. Hamdi Sahib, in your book, there are laws of jihad, laws of dawah, and laws of worship. Are these fiqh or Sharia?
This is Sharia. In my book, Meezan, it is presented in such a way that I first explain Sharia and also clarify which rulings of Sharia are originally based on the Sunnah or the Quran. Then, within the Quran, I clarify where the ruling is originally stated and where its explanation begins. If you read my book, you will find everything clearly separated. After that, I explain what Fiqh al-Nabi or the jurisprudence of the Prophet is. I have included Fiqh al-Nabi as part of it, but I have separated the fiqh that humans later developed, whether it is mine or someone else's. So, in my book Meezan, you will find three things: the Quran, the Sunnah, and Fiqh al-Nabi. That is, if the Prophet, peace be upon him, explained something in the fundamentals of religion, whether for understanding or as part of his exemplary conduct, I will only present that there. Fiqh al-Nabi will be presented there, but I do not present anything else. In my book Maqamat, you will find my juristic interpretations. This is essentially the process of separating things and placing them in their correct positions. On some occasions, those who engage in propaganda exaggerate and present it in a certain way. When I said that Sharia should be separated from the heap of fiqh, it did not mean that it should be discarded. No, it is our knowledge, our heritage, and something we are very proud of. We will benefit from it, but we will not present it as Sharia.
Okay, Hamdi Sahib, if we derive a ruling from Sharia, there is no problem. But we are taking the understanding that Ghamdi has given, or the understanding of Abu Hanifa Shafi'i or Jafar al-Sadiq have given. How are you equating your understanding with the ruling of Sharia?
I have never, even for a moment, equated them. What the Prophet, peace be upon him, explained, or what is stated in the Quran, I have extracted that and am now explaining it. That is my understanding. You may accept it or not. The first stage is that Sharia or God's guidance should be separated. I quote the Quranic verse in Arabic and present the Sunnah as it is. This is the direct explanation of Sharia, religion, or God's guidance. After that, I begin my explanation. This is like telling Zamakhshari, you are a strange person. You have written a commentary and made your understanding equivalent to the Quran. He is quoting verses of the Quran above and below that giving its explanation. I am doing the same. That is, first, I explain Sharia, I do not call my understanding Sharia. Then I explain that the Sharia God has revealed, the laws He has given, or the guidance He has provided, I, as a humble student, understand it in this way. At the end, I have written that this is the opinion of a student. If someone wishes to agree with it, they may, and if they wish to disagree, they may. I am always ready to revise it. So this is also being mixed up. If someone writes a commentary on the Quran, are they claiming that their understanding has become the Quran? If they are doing so, then first hold all commentators accountable and then talk to me.
But isn't this definitive understanding when we say that whatever you have understood is exactly what was intended by God, what He has revealed? Isn't that so?
Have I ever said about my understanding that it is definitive in meaning? No, I have said this about the Quran. I have explained that in the Quran, the speaker has expressed his message in such a way that it has reached humanity in its ultimate form. Now, if there is any error in understanding it, that is my error. And I have also explained what causes my error. I have pointed out two things. Either it is due to a lack of knowledge or a lack of reflection. This is the entirety of my point. Please explain where the error lies in this. I have never claimed my understanding to be definitive. In my books, there are discussions on univocality, and I have clearly explained what univocality or definitive understanding means. That is, in God's book, in God's speech, what God intended to say, the purpose of the speaker, has been conveyed definitively. This is what it means.
No, sir, the point is as clear as day. You have never claimed your understanding to be definitive in meaning. It's just that both points got mixed up, which might have caused confusion. You have written very clearly, and in Makamat, you have an entire essay on this topic stating that the Quran is univocal. So I am saying that the necessary implication of definitive in meaning is not that whatever Gamida Sahib presents in his language about this definitive text must be exactly the same as what Islaha Sahib reads, or what Hassan Sahib reads, or what Sayyid Abul Ala Maududi Sahib reads. It does not mean that everyone must arrive at the same understanding in univocality, and then the understanding of all these people must also reach the same conclusion.
That is, does univocality mean there will be no differences in understanding? Univocality means that the speaker has provided everything necessary. Now, I am a human being, so I have said that sometimes due to a lack of knowledge, I may not reach the correct understanding, and sometimes due to a lack of reflection. Both these interpretations have been adopted by Imam Farahi in his piece on univocality, where he has explained this entire matter, stating that the Quran is univocal. There can be errors in my understanding and in the understanding of my teacher, Ustaz Imam, which is why differences arise. But do we say that my understanding and my teacher's understanding are both correct at the same time? If we say that, then the text is no longer univocal. When I disagree with my teacher, I say his opinion is wrong, and when he disagrees with me, he says my opinion is wrong.
So univocality does not mean that the text can bear multiple meanings or interpretations.
It cannot bear multiple meanings. It is not the case that the Quran can bear two meanings, one understood by my teacher and one by me. No, it is not like that. Either my teacher has misunderstood or I have misunderstood. The Quran bears only one meaning.
Correct, exactly. So in this case, the understanding that emerges will not be definitive.
How can a human's understanding, which is subject to a lack of knowledge and a lack of reflection, be definitive? This is the service of a student who is helping others understand God's book. Obviously, he tries his best to reach the correct understanding, and often he does, but he also makes mistakes. So, this is not the case. This has never been said in this way.
So, Ghamidi Sahib, how is this univocality? You have written its commentary in 5 volumes, Islahi Sahib in 9 volumes, Maududi Sahib in 6 volumes, Razi in 30 volumes. If it is such a definitive text, then see how its commentary is done. You are explaining it so extensively and writing pages upon pages. So this means that it is not definitive in meaning. There are so many complexities, confusions, and issues that you have to write several pages to explain every single verse.
This is what commentary is. That is, when we interpret Iqbal, Ghalib, or Shakespeare, the necessary conclusion is that since interpretation is needed, the meaning must be not clear. This means that not all humans have the same level of understanding. Many people need to benefit from the Book of God. Many people need to benefit from the works of Iqbal, Shakespeare, or Firdausi. Not all humans are experts in every field. So experts always do the work of interpretation and clarification so that they can help those who are not experts. This is not done because a book is a literary text, or it is a scientific text, or a philosophical text. Interpretation is done because not everyone is a specialist in philosophy. So, commentary is written for the service of ordinary people. This does not mean that there is ambiguity necessarily.
Isn't the purpose of commentary to remove ambiguity in meaning?
If a writer actually knows what is being written, then this is to insult him. There can be brevity, but not ambiguity.
Okay, Ghamidi Sahab. In our present day Pakistan, Dr. Khizr Yasin Sahib, you may know him, his writings. He has a stance. And as I told you at the beginning, we have a habit that when someone interprets religion in a different way, we are very eager to see it. So I also read some of his works and met him regarding this. So have you read some of his works? And he has a very strict stance on interpretation. Do you have any thoughts on his method?
I never comment on my contemporaries. You may have never seen me critique or comment on any contemporary. If you want to ask me about any of his points, please state it clearly, and I will comment on it.
His point is that the Quran is not a text that is amenable to exegesis, and those who comment on the Quran are adding to it.
I said that when something is said to be interpretable, it means that we have a text in front of us that not everyone has the skill to access. When this is the situation, a knowledgeable person makes it his life's goal to develop the ability to understand it over the years and then serve others. This is happening in all fields of knowledge. Human nature is also studied by a few people. Scientific research is also done by a few people. And then they explain what they read from the book of nature. This is how they serve us ordinary people. Scholars are also doing the same. So whether it is the Quran, a literary text, or a philosophical text, when we write commentaries, it means that the ordinary person who is busy earning his bread, or the ordinary educated person does not have the time to study the sciences and arts, to be an expert in the Arabic language, or to keep an eye on what previous people have understood. For his convenience, we clarify it for him. So this clarity is actually for ordinary people. That is, experts perform this service, and this is being done in every field of knowledge. So tell me, is this not a need for ordinary people? Do all people in the world have the ability to understand everything at the same level?
No. The guidance you need to take from the book of God, or the guidance God has given us in certain matters, should be understood by every person, right? And the Arabic language is a matter of taste. If you are a Muslim, you should learn it, and you should learn it and see it directly.
Look, even Arabs need it because not all humans are at the same intellectual level. This is the system created by God. You are actually negating it by saying that when God speaks, his speech should be such that a person selling oranges on his cart or a farmer working in a village should find it equally understandable. No knowledge in the world is like this. No literature is like this. Nothing functions like this. So God has also adopted this method. He speaks according to how he has created the world. He has created the world in such a way that some people decide to become experts in a field, develop expertise in it, and then perform the service of interpretation and clarification for others. So, why would God adopt a different method? Is medicine not my need? Do diseases not affect everyone? So, will you then demand from God that the effect of medicines and the diagnosis of diseases should be equally known to every person?
Thank you very much, Ghamidi Sahab. Another question that is considered very important in Farahi's thought for understanding the Quran is the concept of the structure or nazm of the Quran. And there is another question. Our ancient commentators like Imam Razi also look for structure everywhere. The commentary Nazm al-Durar is another example, and there are others, but now you people have emphasized this a lot, and much emphasis seems to be found in it. So is this structure not something that you, me, Islahi Sahib, and Farahi Sahib all discover in the same way? Why is there disagreement among you all? I leave aside the ancient commentators. Among you three, who are the known scholars of Farahi's thought, there is disagreement in the structure. That is, the structure is subjective.
Let's take one thing at a time and the matter will become clear. Tell me, when the Quran is presented, the first thing that comes up is the word from the meanings written in the lexicon. A person selects one meaning, and there can be disagreement about which meaning is intended here.
In my opinion, this is inevitable.
So this means that there is disagreement over the word, even though the word itself is a very definitive thing. It is written there, and its meanings are also written in the lexicon. Despite this, disagreement occurs. Okay, the arrangement of sentences. For example, in yuras wa kalala, what is yuras? Why is kalala? In the accusative case, there can be 2, 3, or 4 opinions on this, or there may not be. This can happen. So this means that in the arrangement of sentences, the same situation arises. So the same situation exists in context and flow. What is the issue here?
Okay, no. The issue is that the entire understanding does not change because of this.
Even the meaning of the words may change. That is, if I have chosen a meaning for a word, my choice may differ from yours. Similarly, look at the arrangement of sentences. That is, in yuras wa kalala, the meanings that Zamakhshari has accepted. I have criticized and disagreed with him. So, what has happened now? There is disagreement in the arrangement. I am taking yuras from awrasa, and he is taking it from warisa. Both possibilities exist, or do they not?
Absolutely.
Therefore, in my view, this matter is being completely misunderstood. In all 3 places, humans are at work. Where humans are at work, there will be disagreement over the determination of the word. There will be disagreement in the arrangement of sentences. That is, the demands being made that if one person says that we are all basing our interpretation on Arabic, now there should be no disagreement over any word. This is really not a reasonable argument.
Absolutely not.
So, in all 3 places, there are possibilities of disagreement. So, why does this become such a big deal when it comes to nazm or structural coherence?
Respected Ghamidi Sahib, another thing. When you discuss some historical conflicts among the companions and other matters, it seems to us that you always place your weight on the side opposed to the al-Bayt, meaning the family of the Prophet. And in the case of Hazrat Ali, Hazrat Hassan, and Imam Hussein, the impression among our Shia friends is that Ghamidi Sahib has traces of Nasbi's anti-Shia tendencies or is a Nasbi himself. So, how do you address this? Although you have explained it very beautifully, I should disagree with this. But these kinds of labels tend to stick. Are you really a Nasbi?
This is a disease from which this ummah has not been able to free itself. It has never been able to acquire the natural way of thinking about things. That is, if you want to reflect on the Quran, do it in the light of tradition. If you want to reflect on the Quran, do it in the light of jurisprudence. If you want to interpret the Quran, do it in the light of philosophy. So what will be the result? In the same way, if you want to discuss historical facts, you will have to do it as a supporter of the al-Bayt or as their opponent. I seek refuge in God from this. In my view, when you base your reflection on something extraneous, you spoil your path at the very first step. I will look at the facts. If a statement of Hazrat Ali is correct, I will accept it. And if someone opposed to him is correct, I will accept it. Therefore, in my case, whether it is the matter of the Quran or the matter of tradition, it will be determined on the basis of this reasoning. Finally, tell me, with whom among them have I had any interaction that led to friendship with one and enmity with another? The stories of the past are over. Centuries have passed. Why would I hold a grudge against anyone? And why would I unjustly support anyone? As a student, I have to see what the correct point is. In understanding it, I am human. I can make mistakes. But my approach will always be the same. Just now I told you about the Quran. As a human being, I will understand it. The principles are the same. I will go looking into the word, the arrangement of sentences and the context. If the Quran says, I will also take tradition. If the Quran points to it, I will also look at the Bible. If the Quran says, I will also look at history. The same is the case when looking at individuals. The same is the case when looking at events. Regarding events or historical matters, my principles are very simple. That is, there is an established history that is transmitted through consensus and continuity. I will base my understanding on that and place individual reports under it, determining them in the light of knowledge and reason. Whatever result emerges from this may be difficult for you or someone else to accept.
With regard to the al-Bayt, there is a verse in Surah Ahzab, and you clearly explain from the context and structure that the al-Bayt mentioned there refers to the wives of the Prophet, but the entire understanding of our Ahl al-Sunnah and all the sects of the Shia, they all believe, based on hadiths, that the Ahl al-Bayt includes the wives as well as the family of the Prophet, but also including Ali, Fatima, and their descendants. You completely deny it, which further gives people the impression that you have some issue with them. And the way you, like Habib ur Rahman Kanhalwi and Tamana Imadi, are so deeply committed on this issue of the Shiites and al-Bayt, it seems as though you have an inclination towards them. This is why a question arose in my mind.
If the al-Bayt are mentioned anywhere in the Quran, and I have dissociated those verses from them, then kindly inform me.
For instance, the verse of purification which says, indeed, God intends to keep away from you impurity, O al-Bayt, and purify you with a thorough purification.
I will revisit the context in which it was revealed. I will close all doors, neither leaving the door of tradition open, nor the door of jurisprudence, philosophy, or theology. First, I will look at the text of the Quran, then its definition, and then its context. There is no room in that verse to include anyone else. I do not accept anything from outside to include in it. So, how would I do it?
For example, when the address is to the wives and stay in your houses, the entire case is feminine. How does it switch to masculine here?
There is no issue with this. Even the esteemed Imam has written about it, and it has been discussed in Mufradat al-Quran. Scholars are well aware of this. This is the style of Arabic. In the Arabic language, for al-Bayt, such pronouns always come up. It is related to the understanding of Arabic. The point is, in every case, one must follow this path. Therefore, its parallels have been presented.
So, Ghamidi Sahib, among us, the al-Sunnah, have the concept of the justice of the companions, Adalat al-Sahaba, and among the Shiites, there is the concept of the infallibility of the Imams. You do not accept both of these in detail from the Quran?
As far as justice is concerned, it is the viewpoint of the scholars of Hadith. I have never had any objection to this. That is, the information we have about the noble companions indicates that they never attributed any falsehood to the Messenger of God, peace be upon him. The way the Hadith experts describe their narrators, saying that so-and-so is truthful, so-and-so is reliable, they have adopted various terminologies. This is their verdict, the result of their research. In the entire group of the noble companions, they did not see anything contrary. This is the result of their research. So, I have no objection to this, nor have I ever raised any.
This is what the Hadith experts meant by justice. But the concept of justice that has taken a very central position in our Sunni Shia disputes seems to have been brought very close to infallibility as you have described. Have you perceived this change, or is this due to my deficient understanding?
It is exactly as you describe. However, in my view, it is not even under discussion. If I have ever spoken about justice, it has always been in the same context in which the Hadith experts use this term. It is a term of their discipline of study, and its meaning is very precise. I will only quote what the Quran and Sunnah have stated about the companions. I know they have been called the best of nations, and I will use that same terminology. I know it has been said about them, they are forceful against disbelievers, merciful among themselves, and I will use that same expression. I know that a large group of them has been given the glad tidings of being ascribed with God is pleased with them, and I will describe them in the same way. So, in my view, the Quranic expressions about the companions are always used.
But what is the guarantee that after the Prophet's, peace be upon him, demise, there were no hypocrites left, or that the hypocrites were eliminated during the Prophet's lifetime?
In this matter too, the teachings of the Quran are absolutely clear. Unless a proven fact is presented to me about a person, whatever is said about them, after hearing it, I will say, Subhanaka haza buhtanun azim. Glory be to God, this is a great slander.
Correct? You will say that those whom the Quran praises, such as Muhammadur Rasulullah and Waladhina Ma'ahu, those with him, they are highly praised, but in some places they are also criticized. Sometimes the companions of the Prophet are criticized and they are described in such terms. Now, regarding what some people say, that they were hypocrites and not true companions, what guarantee is there that after the Prophet's passing, those who remained were true companions or hypocrites? There is a possibility.
When the term Sahaba is used, it is used in two contexts. Those who served the Prophet, peace be upon him, supported him, participated in battles, and remained with him until the end as his companions. This is the correct application of the term Sahaba. Then there is the definition used by scholars of Hadith. Those who saw the Prophet, peace be upon him, in a state of faith and were blessed with the honor of meeting him. All such individuals are considered Sahaba. These are two separate interpretations, and both are valid. I will describe them as they are. However, if it is proven about any companion that they displayed hypocrisy, harmed the religion, or committed a crime, then it will be mentioned. For example, in the case of Ma'iz, I did not mention what crime he committed. Similarly, Numan ibn Bashir, even though he is mentioned among the companions of the Pledge of Ridwan. So, first, something must be proven. The teaching I have been given is that I should maintain a good opinion of every Muslim. First, you must prove that someone became a hypocrite, and this must be proven with certainty. Otherwise, I will say, Subhanaka haza buhtanun azim. Glory be to God, this is an immense slander.
But as the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, Ali is with the truth and the truth is with Ali. He also said about Fatima, his daughter, whoever harms Fatima harms me. Similarly, about Ali, he said, Ali is with the truth. There are clear hadiths on this matter. Of course, you have your own view. When we look at history after the passing of the Prophet, peace be upon him, we see that after his departure from this world, both caliphs caused pain to Fatima, his daughter. In Sahih Bukhari and other books, it is mentioned that until her death, they did not speak to her. There was also the issue of Fadak, where Fatima claimed it as her inheritance, and Abu Bakr presented a hadith to deny her claim. This matter caused her great distress. So how can we say that these were the best of the Ummah who were stern against the disbelievers, yet they caused her such pain? Here, it seems that those who are described as having strong faith do not always live up to those standards.
Peace be upon him, taught that when making a decision in a religious matter, you should not consider whether it causes someone pain or not. He said, if Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad, were to steal, I would cut off her hand. So tell me, would this cause pain to Fatima or not?
It would.
So causing pain cannot be the basis for a decision?
There is a hadith, whoever harms her has harmed me. Here, causing pain is a measure of truth.
It is a standard of truth. How did it become a basis for judgment? If someone speaks ill of my son, it will hurt me. But will religious decisions be made based on causing pain? Should decisions about rights be made based on this?
But from a religious perspective, their demand is correct.
Many people must have been hurt by the decisions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, himself. But is causing pain a valid basis for making a decision or can it be used as an argument?
If not, then in your view, even Lady Fatima's claim was wrong.
Look, what I want to say is that I will look at the arguments of both sides. I will decide based on the arguments. I will determine whose argument is stronger. I will examine the reasoning presented by Abu Bakr Siddiq and the reasoning presented by Lady Fatima. Should decisions be made based on reasoning or on the basis of causing pain to someone? This is what the religion has taught us. This is the teaching given to us by the Messenger of God, peace be upon him. So this means that if I were to sit in the seat of a judge tomorrow, I would have to consider whether my decision against my own son might cause him pain.
Okay, Ghamidi Sahab, let's leave the matter of pain aside. After hearing the hadith, Lady Fatima was absolutely convinced of her position. That is why, even when she was deprived, she did not abandon her stance or admit that her reasoning was wrong. She maintained that her reasoning was correct and that Abu Bakr Siddiq's reasoning was wrong. That is why she did not speak to him for the rest of her life. Even at her funeral, Ali did not allow any of the companions to participate. So what does this mean? There was clearly an issue here. Ghamidi Sahib, how would you address this?
Look, when I stand up to demand my rights, I would of course be convinced that my claim is correct and in my favor. If the decision does not go in my favor, I will feel hurt. These feelings are natural. But the question is, what should the judge, the one who has to make the decision, do? Should he consider whether his decision will cause pain to the person against whom he is ruling? Can decisions be made on this basis? And would this be in accordance with the religion? Should decisions be made this way?
No.
Therefore, the discussion should focus on the decision itself. All these narrations suggest that a judge does not want to cause pain to anyone, but this is not correct. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Whoever causes pain," meaning the judge or the leader of the Muslims, does not cause pain if he makes a decision based on justice. He is clarifying the truth as he sees it. You may disagree with him. Disagreement is possible with any decision. Even today, our courts make many decisions, some of which we agree with and some we disagree with. So, in my view, the matter should be seen from this perspective. I have the right to examine Lady Fatima's reasoning and conclude that her reasoning was absolutely correct and Abu Bakr Siddiq's decision was completely wrong. But by saying this, I am not establishing any negative opinion regarding Abu Bakr Siddiq. He made a decision based on his integrity, and in his view, it was correct. We do the same with our judges and courts today. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said about his own decisions, "It is possible that a man may use his eloquence to secure a ruling in his favor, but he should know that whatever he gains from it will become a burden around his neck on the day of judgment." So, obviously, if someone secures a wrong decision from the Prophet of God, peace be upon him, the person against whom the decision was made will feel pain. But the decision made by the Messenger of God, peace be upon him, was based on reasoning and evidence. Therefore, in my view, it is wrong to comment on decisions in this manner, to say whose reasoning was correct or incorrect. Opinions will be given and reasoning will be examined. Neither Abu Bakr Siddiq's greatness nor Lady Fatima's position will be considered, because the Prophet of God, peace be upon him, has bound me to only look at the evidence and reasoning when a case is presented before me. In this matter, Abu Bakr Siddiq had no other option. At most, you can say that his reasoning was wrong. You have the right to say that.
If this was all there is to it, then it would be fine. However, reaching the point of burning houses, oppressing the only daughter of the Prophet, peace be upon him, these are not small matters that we can simply dismiss by discussing the reasoning. These details cannot be ignored. So do you not believe all these reports?
The core issue will be discussed in the light of reasoning. These are individual narrations, and I have already stated that, in my view, the approach to such matters should be entirely different. If an accusation is made against someone, it must be proven at the same level as cases are proven in court. In general circumstances, I will accept narrations, But when a moral accusation is made, I will demand multiple layers of evidence. There should be no room for even the slightest doubt in the chain of narrations, and it should be supported by multiple sources, just as a judge writes a verdict. Similarly, all these narrations must be examined in detail. Therefore, in my view, the principle is being misused here. This cannot be discussed based on hearsay. Each point must be debated and examined individually. Is this matter proven to the level of testimony, shahada? If you are making this claim, then hold a session and present your arguments.
Okay, thank you very much, Ghamidi Sahib. When you presented many hadith arguments in your books, especially in Meezan, you completely ignored Shia books of hadith, no references at all. So, do you consider them entirely rejected and believe that they contain nothing from the Prophet, peace be upon him, or his companions? Why do you not consider them worthy?
No, that is not the case. I have read many Shia narrations as well. I am familiar with them. In matters where I have accepted these narrations, there is no significant difference. They exist on both sides. Obviously, the science of ilm al-rijal, study of narrators, will be examined to determine the basis for preference. Here, because the narrations have their own specific background and the science of narrators has already been established, the narrators take precedence. Therefore, I give preference based on the principles of this science.
All right, Ghamidi Sahib, I have one last question. I have taken a lot of your time and I am very grateful to you. A great desire of mine has been fulfilled today by having this conversation with you. So I would like to ask you one final question, Ghamidi Sahib, and I would like to thank Hassan Ilyas Sahib as well, as it is through him that this conversation with you has been possible. Ghamidi Sahib, in our history, Muslims have divided into various sects. We often form groups, Ahl al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah with all its branches, Shia with all its branches, Khawarij, you may know, but in the world they are called Ibadis, not Khawarij. So, with whom do you associate yourself? Do you consider yourself part of Ahl al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah? If so, why? If not, then would it be correct to call yours the Ghamidi sect?
I have been told that my father Abraham named me Muslim. My religious identity is simply Muslim. I am a Muslim, and by the grace of Allah, I will die as a Muslim. I have never associated myself with any sect or group. I view the teachings of Ahl al-Sunnah and Ahl al-Tashayyu, Shia, in the same way. Whatever aligns with reasoning and evidence, I accept, and whatever does not, I reject. Regarding every opinion of mine, I say that I consider it correct, but I acknowledge the possibility of error. I consider others' opinions wrong, but acknowledge the possibility of their correctness. I have never associated myself with anyone, nor have I ever accepted the sectarian beliefs that have been presented. My beliefs are the same as those of all Muslims, the beliefs that the Prophet of God, peace be upon him, has explained. The articles of faith are the same as those explained by the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the Quran. Therefore, I do not make such distinctions. In my religious identity, I have never been ready to accept any label other than Muslim, nor will I ever be, inshallah.
But when we say Farahi school, what is it? This is within the Ahl al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, as it is called, where differences in understanding and interpretation have arisen among them. Or we could say that just as there are Sunnis, Shias, Khawarij, and others, the Farahi school is also a new group in the understanding of Islam. How should we understand it?
We should understand it in the same way as we refer to the Hanafi school or the Shafi'i school. That is, those who laid down principles for understanding the religion and were somewhat unique in their approach, thus forming a distinct identity. This is not a religious identity, it is an intellectual identity. And an intellectual school is like, for example, my teachers, or my particular way of thinking, or specific methods of reasoning. This is its explanation. Therefore, if someone says that they are Hanafi in terms of reasoning or methodology, I have no objection. Similarly, if you say that you are associated with the Farahi school, it is like saying that you studied at government college. In the same way, I have benefited from my teacher, Imam Amin Ahsan Islahi. This is a statement of affiliation, not of a sect. It is essentially a statement of association with an intellectual methodology.
So, Hamdi Sahib, is it possible that while I disagree with some of your and the entire Farahi school's fundamental principles, I could hold an important position in one of your institutions and continue to propagate my views? Would you allow me to do so?
In my book, Maqamat, there is an article of about 1.5 pages titled Principles and Foundations. These are the basis for joining or leaving any of our institutions. If you accept these three things, you can become part of our institution. You can express your opinions, agree or disagree on practical matters. Even now, many of my students openly disagree with me on fundamental issues. They invite discussions and write about those topics. In Lahore, there are many senior teachers who openly critique my views. There are no restrictions on this in our circles. However, obviously the three principles of the school of thought you are referring to have been established, and I have written them down. These exist as a foundational document in every institution.
So, what is the obstacle in calling this school of thought a sect? Why not call it the Farahi sect or the Ghamidi sect?
A sect is formed on the basis that you claim that what you have understood is the truth and everything else is false. Schools of thought, on the other hand, are like those in science or history. They are intellectual approaches. For example, the Hanafis. Just because they are Hanafis does not mean they are always right. And the Shafis are always wrong? No. The Hanafis have a methodology through which they understand the religion, and thus they express their identity. This is an intellectual identity. A sect is not formed from an intellectual identity.
All right, so now, what are Shia, Sunni, Khawarij, and Nasibi? Are they not sects, Ghamidi Sahib?
Yes, this is because they have formulated their own system of beliefs, and after that, they hold the opinion that all truth lies with them, and everything outside of them is false. Intellectual schools of thought never hold this opinion. They simply say that we have expressed our understanding, and our methodology is this. It could be correct or incorrect, and if something correct comes before us, we will accept it. Therefore, in my case, there are dozens of things that I have accepted from the Hanafis and some things that I have accepted from the Shafi'is, for example. So, when you stand in this position, you are standing within a school of thought. But when you go beyond that and establish your identity, such as that of Ahl al-Sunnah or the Shia, then you are a sect.
Ghamidi Sahib, for example, if we do not follow the principles of understanding the Quran as laid out by Hamid al-Din Farahi, and we are understanding the Quran or any other schools and sects, do you not label them as misguided? For instance, you say that Ahmadis are completely misguided. In 2005, during your critical discussion on Ghulam Ahmed Parvez, you said that this is zalalat, misguidance. You do not declare takfir, excommunication, but you do distinguish between truth and falsehood, do you not? At the very least, you say that others are misguided. So, does this not make you a sect?
The issue lies in the details. For example, if someone commits an act of disbelief, I will say that this is kufr. If someone commits an act of polytheism, I will say that this is shirk. And if someone denies a fundamental principle of the religion, I will say that they have denied it. This is how it is in all fields of knowledge. It has no connection with this. Is every opinion of Parvez Sahib a misguidance? No, their method or approach to understanding the Arabic language and applying it to the Quran is what I called misguidance.
Hamdi Sahib, it is like this. For example, there are what we can call a scholar's fundamental principles, and then there are the deductions based on these principles which are secondary. If your principles are based on misguidance, then the secondary issues have no significance. So you will not label any sect among Muslims as completely misguided in their fundamental beliefs. You will discuss each issue individually.
If this happens, I will say so. Generally, this is not the case. Usually, it is that different sects or schools of thought among Muslims are either making a mistake in their methodology or in its application. This should be limited to that. However, if a situation arises where neither the methodology nor the application is correct, then a general statement can be made. This too ought not be an injustice to anyone, but would be a position based on reasoning, which others can follow if they wish. In the world of knowledge, you will present your conclusions, right? You will say that this is polytheism, this is disbelief, or this is misguidance. Now, if I start judging each part individually and find that all 10 parts of something are shirk, what will I say? I will say that all of it is shirk.
So, do you consider Shia as completely misguided?
No, I do not. I consider the concept of imamayat among the Shia to be incorrect.
But do you not consider it a deviation or misguidance for this concept of imamite?
I will say that this is an innovation or bid'ah introduced into the religion, and therefore I will label it as such.
Similarly, among al-Sunnah, such as the Asharis, Maturidis, and Hanbalis, there are also things such as these.
Even within them, there are some things which are called innovation, and some on which the ruling of shirk can be applied. So each thing will be examined based on its nature. I have said that there may be something that I consider acceptable, but another scholar may say that it is shirk. However, I do not accept it. So, this other scholar has issued a ruling based on reasoning. In the same way, the Shia say that imamat is part of their faith, but when I examine it in the light of evidence, it is clear to me that it is merely an innovation. I will express it in this way.
So, can you point out something among the Sunnis that is purely bid'ah?
Regarding the entire concept of Sufism among Ahl al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, I have issued the same ruling.
All right, Ghamidi Sahib, thank you very much. I am very grateful to you. I am very thankful. You have given me so much time, and at no point did you tell me that my questions were inappropriate, even though I had several such questions. Just as you honor all your students, you have also honored me. I have a great desire to meet you, and inshallah, when you visit Pakistan, that desire will also be fulfilled. My wish to have this conversation has been fulfilled, and for that, I will once again thank Hassan Ilyas Sahib, who was the means for me to have this conversation with you.
No, you have honored this student of knowledge. I am very grateful to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If I ever wish to take your time again, I can trouble you, Ghamidi Sahib.
I am always available for students.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Jazak Allah khair.